So you're being painted in the media, I remember this, as some nutcase, some girl from Arkansas, who the hell knows who she is, who is just making up this pregnancy and his fatherhood of Navy. So what was that like for you?
It was a pretty dark time because I can't speak for him and his decisions and why he's done things that he's done. That's his story and his decisions are for him to tell. I can't speak on that, but I can say that I wasn't expecting it, I guess. I always thought that he would step up and do the right thing because I thought of him as that type of person that would. I always saw the good in Hunter, and I always thought that he would step up and do the right thing. So I was kind of blindsided, I felt like, when it was dismissed, and he claimed that he didn't even have any recollection of me and stuff. I wanted to think, is that real? Did he really not remember me? Was his addiction worse? Well, I would say worse than I thought, but I mean, was that a symptom of his addiction during that time? But at the same time, like I know my story and I know my truth. I know what I went through, and that is something that I can speak on, and I can say, how it made me feel to hear those things.
Mm-hmm. Here's an excerpt from his book, speaking about you and potentially others in Soundbite 20.
And the other woman I'd been with during rampages since my divorce were hardly the dating type. We would satisfy our immediate needs and little else. I'm not proud of it. It's why I would later challenge in court the woman from Arkansas who had a baby in 2018 and claimed the child was mine. I had no recollection of our encounter. That's how little connection I had with anyone. I was a mess, but a mess I've taken responsibility for.
What do you make of that, London? That some woman in Arkansas and claimed the child was mine, hardly the dating type.
I mean, how would that make any woman feel? Especially, when that's the father of their child saying that. It's hurtful. It's hurtful to hear those things. And, in the book, I describe how I feel when all of this stuff, comes to light, from the New Yorker to his memoir and things like that. There are some chapters where I think you feel my rage, and I think there are some chapters where you feel my hurt, and you go through plenty of emotions during that time.
I'm sure. Again, for the listening audience, speaking today with Lunden Roberts, who's the author of Out of the Shadows, My Life Inside the Wild World of Hunter Biden. You can pre-order it right now. It's pretty extraordinary, the callousness with which you and honestly your daughter were treated for the first 4 out of her 5 years on this earth. The chapter of, what in particular I have to say Jill Biden did to Navy is really infuriating. It paints the First Lady in a whole new light. Can you tell us about the Christmas stockings?
Yes, that actually is something. When I was able to talk to Hunter for the first time since I'd been pregnant, that was something that I brought to him. Like that's hurtful to see, a matriarch of a family who is supposed to bring a family together, purposely exclude someone, part of that family, part of that bloodline. And that's something that someday my daughter will read and my daughter will see. And it breaks my heart to know that it will break hers to read and see the things that she's going to see about being excluded. Mm-hmm. And she's going to wonder, why. And all I can do is, be there for her when she is old enough to understand these things.
How are you going to explain that?
That's tough because it's one of those where I have to tell her, I can't tell you why. I can't explain other people's behavior for you. All I can say is, that I'm sorry. And I feel to blame because I'm the reason she's in this predicament. this is my child that I had with him. I got myself into that situation, and I feel like I'm to blame for it. And I have a lot of mom guilt when it comes to that as well. So that's something that I hope that with Hunter and Navy's relationship growing, that maybe he can turn things around and try to explain to her those behaviors and why.
Is it true that when Jill Biden hung the White House stockings for the 6 grandchildren, not the 7, excluding Navy, that she also had stockings up there for the family pets, for the dogs?
I actually did hear that.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That is infuriating. So at the same time, at around the same time, so Hunter, we kind of skipped over this, he denies paternity. When Navy is born, he does not step up and support you spiritually and financially and as a man and as a father, as he had promised when you first told him. He denies being the father altogether. And you actually had to file a lawsuit to make him own up to the fact that he had fathered your child. And he did not make it easy on you to even serve him with the papers or get the necessary DNA sample. Like you really, and you're not a rich woman. So can you talk a little bit about what that process was like for you?
It was tough because you know that this is all fixing to be made public and the world's going to know about it. And so, that one thing is tough, but also going after somebody to take accountability for a child, it's hard because you always wonder if you're doing the right thing or you're going about everything the right way. You want to do what's best in that predicament, and you always question yourself. And I felt like there were times, I think I speak on in the book, where I was even calling a couple of mine and Hunter's mutual friends, and I'm like, did I dream all this up? Like, this did happen, right? And they're like, yes. But I was avoided so much that I thought, am I crazy? Have I lost my mind? And I had those friends there with me, who witnessed everything. They're like, no, like, get it together. You're doing the right thing.
How long did it take in Navy's life for you to finally prove paternity and come to an agreement with him, the initial agreement for support?
I believe she was going on 2 years old, maybe.
Wow. He had never laid eyes on her.
She had her first birthday or second birthday, but it was February of 19. So that would have been she was 10 months old. She was before her first birthday.
And he had never seen her.
No.
So you finally proved paternity, and did he apologize?
No. I at that point in time, I had not, we weren't talking. We had no communication. That was just our attorneys talking back and forth. So that's the only thing that I would hear was from my attorney of what, his attorney had said or whatever. There was no communication with me and him.
Mm-hmm. And when did you finally get to talk to him?
It wasn't until years later in the child support dispute.
When he wanted to lower it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you finally got to sit down with him. So he was ordered by the court to pay, I think it was $20,000 a month, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, to support his child. And he was making millions. We know this from, all the public records around the Burisma and all the rest of it. He was making millions, and he has, forgive me, 3 other children. He has 2 older daughters and a son before Navy, and now he's since had walk me through the number of children
3.
Hunter has.
He has 3 daughters before Navy, and then he has a younger son.
Yeah, okay. And that was the other piece. So his younger son, who he named Bo after his brother, was born as you were going through the paternity suit, as you were trying to get him to acknowledge your child. You're seeing him and his new wife, who he's still with, in the papers, and their child who gets celebrated as a new Biden, and you can't get him to acknowledge your Biden. I mean, that must have been particularly galling.
It was. I think it came out towards the end of the paternity suit that she was pregnant, and I think he was born shortly after. But yes, during that time, all of it was difficult.
Do you owe back taxes? Pandemic relief is now over. Along with hiring thousands of new agents and field officers, the IRS has kicked off 2024 by sending over 5 million pay-up letters to those who have unfiled tax returns or balances owed. Don't waive your rights and speak with them on your own. Tax Network USA, a trusted tax relief firm, has saved over $1 billion in back taxes for their clients, and they can help you secure the best deal possible. Whether you owe 10 grand or 10 million, they can help you. Whether it's business or personal taxes, even if you have the means to pay, or if you're on a fixed income, they can help finally resolve your tax burdens once and for all. Call 1-800-245-6000 for a private free consultation or visit tnusa.com/Megyn. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.